So welcome to the CFM Elite Lifestyle Business Podcast, and it is Monday the 30th of April. So I wanted to hop on here and just to connect with you from an authentic level, not to say that I haven't been, but it's just when you have that opportunity where you have a thought, you just go with the flow and see where it takes you. So my mind, where it took me, and the reason I hopped on here, the question that kept popping up in my mind is, are you driving in overdrive? So much so that you want to be everything for everybody else, but you don't give yourself the opportunity and sufficient time to stop and breathe and think about yourself and who you are in this world. So that's what's been coming up for me. So before I even hop on to the topic itself, let me introduce myself as the most elitist thing to do, as I usually say. My name is Chiko and I'm checking in from the south coast of UK. And sometimes you may also find me in the US and once in a while in Canada, and then country of origin, Malawi as well. So if we are connecting from any of these places, fabulous. But I also like to connect globally with women from everywhere. So I always think of myself as a nomad in terms of that. I love traveling, and when I don't travel, I feel like, I've got like this travel bug or sickness that I need to actually go somewhere. And when I start to feel like that, then it means that it's time to pack up and go and travel. So on that note, do also feel free to connect with me on social media on this platform and let me know where you're checking in from as well. And if anything that I share with you, as per usual, resonates with you and you find it of value, then do feel free to share with like-minded women, with like-minded souls, as sharing is caring, sharing is loving. So the topic matter at hand, are you driving in overdrive? So my mind was reflecting back to the mindset of the employee. And I was once that employee where I can say most of like my family members, my immediate family members, we have the work we've picked up the work ethic of working. So we've picked up the work ethic of working, not being lazy, but delivering results and performing at our ultimate best. So sometimes that can work out fabulous, but sometimes that can also be an impediment to the point where you get to be in overdrive, and then you start to forget yourself as well within everything else. If anything I say resonates with you and in your mind, you can say yes, yes, okay, or comment as well, feel free. So while I was thinking about this, I was thinking about my time of being like a full-time employee, from being like a frontline worker to also leading teams. And I believe it's especially when I was also like leading in teams as well. But this can happen in any type of role that you're involved in as well, where you feel like you're being everything for everybody else and not for yourself. So I used to find myself in these situations where I was passionate about what I did. I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed being there for others. But what happened as a result of that is that I was driving in overdrive to the point that by the time it came to taking a holiday and I would go, my body would start to like wind down to the point sometimes I would be affected health-wise. So when you start getting like a cold symptoms or things like that, that means that your body has been going in overdrive. And then when you're just before you're about to go on holiday, you start to notice these symptoms, like you're starting to feel. So when you're starting to feel like you're feeling overwhelmed, or your body is telling you that you have been overworking. So my podcast, for some reason, keeps stopping. Maybe that's a sign, a stopgap, time to reflect. Okay, so in terms of being in overdrive, and my plan for this podcast was to be in flow, but yes, the interruptions have happened, but let's still continue with the flow. So, in terms of being in overdrive, sometimes you can also miss the key points of what's happening within your environment. You can also be focused on other people's matters as well, to so much so that you also forget what your priorities are. So let's say, for instance, if you're an employee, you might have your job description, but then you go off tangent from your job description to the point that you forget to achieve the results that you're meant to be achieving within your role. Even if nobody points it out to you, you may find that you are caught up in firefighting. You're in firefighting mode to the point that everybody has a demand, everybody needs something, and you're trying to be there for everybody. So there is a fine line, and finding a balance is that not everything needs to be an emergency, and not everything needs to be that it's got to be done now. So it's about thinking of taking a stopgap. Okay, reflecting on, even if you need to go back to your job description or to go back to the organization's vision and purpose, to then think about what results do you actually need to achieve aside from the operational tasks. This is what people will remember, and this is what will also have the most impact in terms of you also feeling like you're achieving something, and also in terms of you feeling as though you have some time to come up for air and to breathe as well. And then how this applies in your business is that when you get into your business, then you become more strategic, that you have this fresh outlook usually. And the fresh outlook is something that new managers always used to say to me upon like me being employed in a new position, and you might have experienced this as well. When you go into a new organization, or when you're starting something new, you're going in with a fresh mind, an open mindset, so that you can be able to contribute to things you notice. They're a little bit of tangent. Okay, the reason that happens is that when people work in routine positions, or they've been in doing something for a long time, it is easy to become complacent and to get caught up in the daily grind, as I may call it. Okay, so that is fine, but it doesn't really achieve any greater results. Okay, so for your business, the results that you produce, it's not the one-time rewards. It is the things that you do in the background. What I mean by this, it is, I hear people sometimes say, oh, they've made like, let's say 10,000, and as an exaggeration, or they've met somebody who's like a star, and then they publish it. Yes, that's great. But the consistency and achieving results comes from what you do in the background. Okay, how are you connecting with the people that you need to connect with in order to help them achieve results, and also the results that then turn into something tangible for you in terms of financial rewards. And in starting a business, it is so easy to get caught up also in the daily operations of everything. Okay, so to become a little bit complacent in being in overdrive, in getting the buzz from doing, like, let's say, for example, live videos, or posting and waiting for like responses and feeling elevated from that and getting a buzz from it. But it's looking at it, is it actually paying you the results and the rewards you want, health-wise and mentality, and also financially in the long term? Because even if you are off, let's say, the traditional model of working, like being an employee, you can also burn out in being an entrepreneur. And the reason the burnout happens is because of being caught up in the daily operations, or being caught up in wanting to be everything for everybody. Okay, so going into this week, what I would like to encourage you is to think more about every single day, to ask yourself this: what results do you need to focus on each day? Even if you've dedicated time, like on Mondays, this is what I used to do with my team before. Mondays was our days to strategize, to think about what goals do we need to attack this week in order to achieve results. Yes, attack. Okay, so that always gives you the feeling of feeling rejuvenated. Even when you get caught up in the daily operations, you can still separate yourself because you've got a focus. You know in your mind that you've got one or two results that will make an impact this coming week, that you're going to achieve those. That is what people will remember in your role of employment. And also, if you are becoming like an entrepreneur, or you're already an entrepreneur or self-employed, whichever it may be, people will remember the impact that you achieved in terms of producing results for them. And then you will also remember what results you've achieved, rather than being caught up in the rhetoric of doing for and not doing for yourself as well, because there needs to be a balance, that doesn't there? There needs to be a balance so that you can also sustainably keep yourself in the state of good well-being, so that you don't feel moments of feeling deflated as well, because that can happen. And the reason why I'm sharing you with that is that for me as well, I gave in terms of starting out my journey of entrepreneurship. Then there have been moments where I felt like burnout. So now I've got to a point where I have got like more of a balance, where I'm more alert and more mindful in terms of my actions, in terms of what I do, and in terms of the attachment that I put onto things. So for me, the value is not in waiting to see how others will respond. The value that I find is in about thinking about what is my purpose and who do I need to connect with, what results do I need to achieve in order to make an impact. So these are the type of things you may also want to be saying to yourself. It doesn't have to be the same narrative. It can be a different narrative, or dependent on what your life vision is as well. Okay, so I hope you have found this podcast of value. And this is where I'm going to end it off today, and wishing you a fabulous week, and also a fabulous week where you're going to 10x and achieve 1 to 2 results, hopefully, that you've set out for yourself. So bye from me for now, and remember to share out to any like-minded souls, any like-minded women. Until next time, bye from me for now.